We are back for the Week 6 NFL record predictions. So far, we are immaculate, both batting close to 1,000. We can't miss, unlike the Atlanta Braves in the playoffs, who can't seem to hit anything. But fortunately for them, their season's over. On to the greatest country in the world, which used to own about 75% of the territory in the world and now doesn't. Of course, speaking of Great Britain, where the Baltimore Ravens will face off against the Tennessee Titans. A heated rivalry reinvigorated by Odell and Jadeveon Clowney coming off the IL and ready to get after it against the Titans. Unfortunately, it will not matter. Now, I think the Ravens are clearly the better team. Better quarterback, better defense, even if it's injured, but the Titans are a bad matchup for them. The Ravens' run defense has not been there this season. That's their area of weakness. Derrick Henry is getting a higher usage rate, and frankly, Ryan Tannehill, sneaky athletic. Some people call him the Vanilla Vic. I call him light-skinned Lamar, but I think he pulls it out. I think we're going to see another 250, 300-yard performance with a few rushing touchdowns. Really going to get it done. I'm giving this one to the Titans across the pond.
So you're picking a Titans win with Ryan Tannehill having a few rushing touchdowns.
I am.
I don't see that happening. I could see the Titans winning if the Ravens receivers pull off another disaster class that they had last week against the Steelers. But the Titans defense is not quite as good as that Steelers defense. The Ravens offense, I know it's relatively healthy.
Can we just stop doing this every single week? Well, it's kind of healthy this time. Just say they're hurt and move on.
They're a little hurt. I think the Ravens.
If you think Lamar can win it himself,
the Ravens are going to win that one. Lamar's going to have a good game. Now I have the Washington Commanders versus all of a sudden Isaiah's love child, the Atlanta Falcons. They're headed to Atlanta, and you keep telling me as Desmond Ridder deserves an apology. The person who actually deserves an apology is Sam Howell, because he's been playing great this season. Of course, he's had some of those big rookie mistakes. Against the Bills, he looked horrible, threw 4 interceptions, but he has 6 touchdowns on the season. He's thrown for 300 yards a couple times, completing close to 70% of his passes, and I believe in them more than I believe in the Falcons. I mean, who have the Falcons beat? They beat the Packers by 1. They beat the Panthers. They beat, just most recently, they beat the Texans. They haven't really beat anyone, and their offense is bottom 5 in the NFL in points scored per game. Not the greatest team. The Commanders, on the other hand, their offense has looked solid amidst Sam Howell's rookie mistakes, so I fully expect the Commanders to win.
Well, it's a great thing not many people listen to this, because otherwise they'd all be calling you idiots in the comment section. I like Sam Howell too. I was saying good stuff about Howell before the season started. You're the one who owes no apology. I'm a Sam Howell guy. I like both these quarterbacks. They're both good at football.
I didn't say
Walk it back. Sam Howell deserves an apology. It's sure as hell not from me. I do kind of tend to agree the quarterback situation comparable. I give a slight edge to Howell because I think he's more developed, had more time in that Washington system. But I think the supporting cast is better for the Atlanta Falcons. Their defense, comparable level. Front 7 not as good, secondary better. But they've got better running backs. They've got a better tight end in Jonnu. And they've got better receivers. Terry McLaurin's comparable to Drake London. I give him the edge. But still, I'm taking the Washington Commanders in this one. It's not going to be a particularly competitive game.
You're right for once.
But I digress. On the matter of fact, it's Desmond Ridder's game. 300 yards again, 3 touchdowns. We're moving on. On to a much better game. The Chicago Bears hosting the Minnesota Vikings, a game everybody wants to watch. Kirk Cousins' wife's traveling on the road for the first time in her career as a Vikings supporter to Chicago, to Chirac, to see her husband absolutely dismantle the Bears. The Vikings' run defense, not good. Secondary, much better. And let's be honest with ourselves, you can keep quoting the narrative, Justin Fields is a great running quarterback. Hasn't been a great running quarterback this season. Been a fine passer in the football the last 6 quarters. Good for him. But he has not been a real running threat, and that's the area of weakness for the Vikings. I don't see that changing. The Vikings have a good secondary. They've got good safeties. Their linebackers aren't that bad, and their offense, even missing Justin Jefferson, is much better than the Bears. You are in deep, deep denial if you disagree. The Vikings are winning their 2nd game of the season here, and this is where it starts to turn around.
You're the one who's in denial. You've predicted the Vikings to win every single game this season.
Correct.
Every single game,
and
you've been wrong 4 times.
I will be right more than I'm wrong on the Vikings record prediction.
And right one time.
2 times this week.
They're not going to win. I mean, they're missing Justin Jefferson, who is the heart and soul. When you're missing the best receiver in the NFL, it doesn't get easier to win football games.
Yeah, it does when you're playing the Bears. It gets much easier to win football games.
Unfortunately, the Bears, they're finding their rhythm. DJ Moore, they're getting him the ball.
They won their first game in 342 days. They're in. Three picks, 50 rushing yards.
Not
50%
happening.
completion percentage.
Regardless, I'm sorry you have to listen
cool
to his Vikings
350.
prediction every week. The Bears are walking away with the win. Next up, we have the Saints versus the Texans. I am not a big fan of what the Saints have done this season. They have not looked all that great. They've been getting wins, and they've looked functional, I think, a lot due to some of the veterans they have on that team that have been in the NFL a long time. They had a great game last week dismantling the Patriots, but much like the Falcons, they haven't really beat anyone this season, in my opinion. They've beat up on bad teams in the games that they have won, and they're playing the Texans. I think C.J. Stroud, he had an opportunity for a game-winning drive last week. Didn't quite get it because Desmond Ridder came back and got his own game-winning drive.
C.J. doesn't quite measure up to Desmond, but...
But I think the Texans walk away with a win here at home in Houston.
Is everyone just walking away with wins here? Is that the expression this week? They're walking away with
wins.
They can't jog away. They can't ride in their forward focuses, their Escalades. Can't get back on the team bus, drive away, fly away from the game. They're walking away.
Well, if they maybe rolling away too.
Maybe riding in the golf carts of the Gators, cruising away in comfort. I have no strong opinions. I think the Saints are a very dysfunctional team who will at best win 7 or 8 games. I'll give this one to the Texans. I think Will Anderson will have a decent day against that Saints O-line, kind of reinvigorate that defensive rookie of the year campaign, but I am not overly passionate about Saints or Texans football. On to a game I do care a lot about though. 49ers taking on the Browns in Cleveland. Deshaun Watson's status as of the recording of this video, unknown. May sit out, may play. Doesn't matter. We know who the 49ers are. They're the best team in football. They humiliated the Cowboys. They humiliated everyone they've played against this year. It has not been a competitive season for them. They have not been tested. And unfortunately, that test probably does not come until deep in the playoffs or the Super Bowl. Well, actually, it comes next week when the Vikings beat them. But still, besides that, 49ers have a very easy schedule. They could legitimately go 16-1. This is a great team. Brock Purdy's a great quarterback. And on the other sideline, you've got a guy waffling about not playing. Meanwhile, his teammates toughing out, his face being burnt off. I have no respect for Deshaun Watson. Any respect I did have has disappeared. You can be a scumbag, that's fine and dandy or whatever. I'll still respect you if you can grit out and play through an injury. Watson won't do it. Watson's not a real man. Watson's going to lead the Cleveland Browns to the 7th overall draft pick. Terrible record. Worst contract in football history, and the 49ers are humiliating them.
The only one that might be worse is Russell Wilson, but at least he's on the field for them right now. And all his money's not guaranteed, so maybe they eventually get off that contract. But much like the game I'm about to talk about, I don't think anyone's expecting the Browns to win. The 49ers should win in a massive blowout. And everything Isaiah said, I basically agree with for once on that one. Next, then I have the Panthers taking on the Dolphins. And the Panthers, they want to be what the Dolphins are. They drafted a quarterback that, is supposed to be cerebral, see everything at a high level, but, he's kind of a limited athlete, much like Tua. He's a shorter quarterback, and they don't have any offensive pieces around him outside of Adam Thielen.
Wait. You mean to tell me DJ Chark and Adam Thielen don't compare to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle?
Yes, I know that comes as a shock.
Man,
Miles
this
Sanders,
is what you tune into the podcast for, the breathtaking analysis going down here.
They want to get to that point. They want to build an offense around a cerebral, smart, a shorter quarterback. I'm using big words here today.
Word of the day calendar coming in clutch yet again.
I may use cerebral later too. Sneak it in again.
So that's 3. We got
anyway,
the
Panthers are losing. Dolphins walk away, probably similar game to how the Giants one went.
Also walking away. So phrase of the day, walking away, word of the day, cerebral. Gotcha.
Yes.
What is there to say? It's the Carolina Panthers. It's the Miami Dolphins. Who cares if A-Chain's hurt? On to the next game. Indianapolis with Gardner Minshew taking on his former team, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And let's be blunt about this, folks. From a statistical standpoint, Gardner Minshew is comparable in terms of his career production to Trevor Lawrence. Is he as good? Maybe, maybe not. Was he set up for failure in Jacksonville? Oh, absolutely. And will he exact vengeance upon the organization which cut him for a rookie quarterback who had never played a snap of football in the NFL thanks to the incompetency of Urban Meyer? I believe so. Minshew will torture the Jaguars this Sunday. It will be an embarrassment to that franchise. Indianapolis is going to get active. They will dominate Jacksonville at every aspect of the game besides maybe pass rush. Other than that, Minshew Mania, Indianapolis Colts rolling over Jacksonville.
I would not be shocked if that does happen. I think I could definitely see that happening, and I like that take. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Jaguars are finally going to get in a groove on offense. They've been horrible in the red zone. They're running the ball a lot, but they haven't been super efficient on the ground. So I think we see that turn around a little bit this week, and I think the Jaguars get a win there. Next, we have the Lions versus the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers, who I've enjoyed them this season. They've been a big surprise to almost everyone. Baker Mayfield has been very solid. The defense, we know they've always in the past few years had great defenses, but it's been very good this year. So a game at home with the Buccaneers, I think they could win. I just don't see that happening. I think the Lions have a much better offense. They're getting Jameson Williams. They got him back last week, didn't do much. Maybe that first-round pick finally pays off and he does something, but they've gotten production out of everyone this season. Josh Reynolds has done something. Marvin Jones has been playing well. Sam Laporta, I see he's on the injury report, crossing my fingers he does play. I think Jahmyr Gibbs might be out, but they just have a better offense. I think they're going to outscore the Buccaneers.
I mean, pick an upset for once, man. Be brave. Say the Buccaneers are going to win. They're not going to. The Lions are probably going to win the game, but you need to be more aggressive with these picks. I think you pick the favorite pretty much every single time here. We've got to be bold and brash with these takes, which is why I'm saying the Las Vegas Raiders are going to go into New England and continue the suffering.
I think I skipped the Seahawks and Bengals.
We can circle back to it. The Las Vegas Raiders are going to go into their home, going to play the Patriots and continue the humiliation, the domination, the former Belichick disciple pulling off the rare win against his former head coach. It's going to happen, folks. I don't care if it's Jimmy G, Aiden O'Connell, or Isaiah Ashley playing quarterback. It doesn't matter. They will score points on that Patriots defense. Injured beyond belief, J.C. Jackson doesn't help. That Patriots offense, incompetent, incapable of moving the ball, inconsolably bad. It's rough out there for the Patriots fans. They deserve it after winning 6 Super Bowls in 20 years, but still, it's hard. And it's going to get harder when the Raiders smoke you. I'm going to say it's going to be better this week. 32-6.
Yeah, I mean, the Raiders have much more offensive firepower than the Patriots do. I mean, the Patriots, when your number one receiving threat is basically Hunter Henry, who also did nothing. The offense in general didn't do anything
Hunter
last
Henry
week.
would be the best wide receiver or tight end on the Giants right
now.
now.
But yeah, okay. See, these are the takes I cannot handle from you.
Darren Waller had one good season of elite production, and because he was on your fantasy team at the time, you fell in love with him. You don't know ball.
Anyway, I agree with Isaiah on that one, and I'm going to circle back to this because either I'm having short-term memory loss, but I'm pretty sure I forgot the Seahawks.
Not a cerebral moment for you.
Not a cerebral moment. Seahawks taking on the Bengals, and the Bengals, they're coming off a big win last week where they beat the Cardinals, but you're supposed to beat the Cardinals with all those offensive pieces the Bengals have on offense, and they're taking on the Seahawks, who I've liked all season. Kenneth Walker, Geno Smith, DK Metcalf has been very good this season. Very disappointed in the fact that Jason has basically done nothing. That has hurt a little bit. But I think the Seahawks are going to go into Cincinnati and they're going to get a win and walk away with it.
Those Ohio State college players generally struggle on the next level. C.J. Stroud, of course, the exception to the rule. I got no issue with C.J. Stroud. I want to make that clear. I'll circle back to this. You said circle back. I'm circling back now. C.J. Stroud, 0-2 against Michigan, lost in embarrassing fashion in the playoffs. I like C.J. Stroud. Of all the Ohio State quarterbacks, him and Cardell Stewart, who beat the brakes off some poor kid in the hospital, 98-7 in Madden. Those are the two who are tolerable to me. No C.J. Stroud hate here. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Sure, whatever. I don't care what you said. On to a game.
Are you picking the Seahawks or Bengals?
A football team will win that game. The Arizona Cardinals are taking on the Los Angeles Rams. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Tutu Atwell. 3 names, 2 of which are fun to say, but they form the best receiving trio in the NFL. It's hard to stop, man. Got last week, sure, areas of weakness, but you improve those areas when you play the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals are the FCS team on Power 5 schedules. They are a tune-up game. You get to play around with what your offense really can do. Stafford, McVay, playing sweet, sweet music on the Cardinals this week. They're going to get after it offensively. I expect a cool, a breezy 120, both from Kupp and Atwell. Puka Nacua? Who knows? It's hard to say. He might break the single-game receiving yards record for all we know.
Are you okay over there?
I am great. But I'm going to tell you, Rams are winning this one. Also, eating an entire carton of egg whites, 500 calories, 100 grams of protein. Great ratio there. Throwing that down your stomach will cause some intestinal woes.
I mean, the Cardinals, big surprise this season, but I still find it hard to pick them every single week. And the Rams, they've looked very good on offense this season, much better than we expected, especially with the emergence of Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell becoming a serviceable receiver and being a very solid option to throw to.
Disrespectful, serviceable. He's a quality receiver, baby. Don't say serviceable. He's not some plug-and-play guy. He's legit.
We have the Eagles and the Jets next. And, if the Jets defense shows up, gets a crisp 2 or 3 interceptions, Zach Wilson maybe has another career game, replicates what he did with the Chiefs, they could pull this one out. Eagles, they're undefeated, but, we've seen some weak points this year. I don't think that's going to happen. The Jets defense, as good as we all talk about it being, bottom 5 rushing defense in the NFL. Eagles, second best rushing attack in the NFL. I expect the Eagles to win this game based off the strength of the run game.
The team wearing green will win that game. That is all I will say. On to the Sunday night football game. The battle where the New York-based Buffalo Bills take on the New Jersey-based New York Football Giants in New York for once. It's going to be an interesting one. Not because the Giants are coming to play, but because they're bringing Tyrod Taylor with them. Daniel Jones will be missing that game, which means the Giants offense finally has the chance to succeed. A real mobile quarterback, a career backup who has shined in the moments he can start. Dragged the Buffalo Bills to the playoffs, actually, in his last meaningful starting role. He's got history with his team. Much more competitive than it would be if Daniel Jones is playing. I'll put it to you like that. O-line's still an issue for the Giants, obviously. Maybe Tyrod Taylor could unlock a little bit of something with Darren Waller, improve his game, get him to that Jonnu Smith level, get him to that Hunter Henry level, perhaps. But I'm going to take the Bills in this one. I think it'll be competitive for longer than people think, but I think the Bills do ultimately prevail due to just being better at the most important positions. And, of course, having a much better head coach.
Okay. And, with Matt Milano being gone for the season, they lost another big piece on that defensive line. Name is escaping me right now. Last week in London. Lost a lot of key pieces on that defense. They already lost Tre'Davious White this season. Defense is looking a little weak for the Bills, opening up the door for the Giants to slide through. It's a trap game for the Bills. They think they're going to win. The Giants have been horrible all season long. The backup quarterback's walking out there. Basically, every player on the Giants' offensive line is injured outside of the worst one in Evan Neal. The rookie center injured. Left tackle, Andrew Thomas, it seems like he's probably not playing. So I think the Giants, they sneak in a win here in a game that the Bills are expecting to win, and the Giants walk away with it.
Tristan, when I predict my favorite team to win, say, the Vikings are going to upset the Chiefs, they lose a one-score game, and there is some very questionable officiating moments, regardless how you want to look at it, take place towards the end of the game. When you say, your team's going to pull off the upset, they lost by 40 to the Cowboys. What more do you want from that? And they might lose by 50 to the Bills. I'm walking it back. It's not going to be closer than you think, ladies and gentlemen. It's a trap game in the sense that Josh Allen may sprain his ankle curb stomping that pathetic organization in New Jersey. Bills by 100.
Okay. You're wrong, but
finish the predictions.
Last game, we have the Cowboys heading to LA versus the Chargers. And the Cowboys offense has not looked, in my opinion, good all season long. Chargers offense has looked very solid, but the Chargers defense is horrible. Cowboys defense has been elite. Listen, you don't need to sigh over there. You can act like you're paying attention to my 100% accurate prediction I'm about to have. And, based on the logic of the Cowboys defense being so elite and the Chargers defense being so bad, you'd expect the Cowboys could maybe pull this one off. But I think once the Chargers keep scoring points, I think they're going to get a couple scores on the board early. I think the Chargers get a win here. The Cowboys offense not going to be able to keep up with Kellen Moore and Justin Herbert, and Mike McCarthy is going to look silly.
You are so rattled. You have rattled yourself thinking about what my response to this is going to be. Ladies and gentlemen, who do you think the Dallas Cowboys are? What do you think this team is? This is pretty clearly the consensus third best team in the NFC, going against a Chargers squad who will be fighting for their lives to make the wild card. It ain't easy over there in Dallas when you gotta play the 49ers. The 49ers do that to any team they play as of right now. Maybe things change as the year goes on. Maybe someone gets better, maybe they get worse. A 40-10 loss to San Francisco does not move me one way or the other. Cowboys are going to smoke the Chargers. What are we saying here? Justin Herbert not going to be able to get active. maybe he can pull off some empty stat padding in the fourth quarter. Get it to be a one-score game so you people think it was competitive. It won't be. Cowboys are winning this one. If you know football, you know Dallas will not get embarrassed 2 weeks in a row. It's just not happening.
It is a very Dallas thing to do to get embarrassed 2 weeks in a row.
You've been embarrassed 6 weeks in a row, and yet here we are.
I've been embarrassed 6 weeks. I've been.
You have been, yes.
How have I been?
Well, first off, you've never seen 10 bands in your life. See the board behind you. Second off, you're getting verbally thrashed in front of America on these podcasts.
Oh, let's see what America thinks. Let us know who's been getting the verbal thrashings every week.
See, stuttering through it, you know you do not want those comments.
Okay.
Anyway, now for our 4-hour podcast on the current state of Israel and Palestine.